Gym. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the vlogs. Today, we are pretty much sorted because I have already figured out what we are building today. Hint: we are building something, and it's sort of a project. It's an open source project. Let me explain. Alright, before we get started, let's just try and understand what exactly an open source project is. Now, a very simple example would be giving an example of Amazon, which is obviously not open source. If you find a bug or an issue in it, you just can't go to the code base, raise an issue, submit a PR or something of that sort, and get it merged, right? But in case you are using an open source software, for example, you're using Keycloak, right? And if you run into a bug, you can go to their GitHub repository, raise an issue, maybe get it assigned to yourself, work on it, create a fix, send a PR, get it merged, and boom, you have contributed an open source project which will be used by thousands of people. So the stark difference between both of these projects are when you're basically using an open source project or looking at an open source project, you can basically go through their entire code base, understand their entire code base. If you find some things that you can improve or that you would like to work on or that you would like to contribute to, you can go ahead and do that without any trouble. So that is what open source is. Coming back to what my idea is, I think in the intro I said it's open source. I'm not really sure if this project will be open source, but we'll see if we can maybe make it open source or maybe monetize it. I'm really not sure. Definitely not monetizing it in the first go, but yeah. Let's go and take a look at what the idea is. Alright, so here's the deal. So what are we solving for? AKA what's the problem statement here? This is our problem statement, right? So what basically happens is an open source project technically has 4 pillars to it, right? Tech, design, product, and community. Cool. You have thousands of devs ready to contribute to these. So basically these devs are who contribute to the tech side of the things. These are the devs that make a community for the project. And then the devs are the people who contribute to product. But devs don't necessarily contribute to the design of the whole thing. Design is something that usually the original admins or the creators of the project decide, or maybe the project has a few designers or 1 or 2 designers who decide how exactly does the project would look, what are the flows for it, and so on. But what if we could make this whole process very efficient? This is what technically happens, right? For an open source project, you will always find thousands and thousands of devs always ready to contribute to these projects. But you'll only find a handful of designers who are always ready to contribute to open source project. So how can we solve for this? What's the solution? And the solution that I have is pretty simple, pretty chill solution. A very easy to understand simple solution. If this diagram does not explain you anything, let me walk you through it. What exactly I'm saying is, I'm trying to build a search and discovery platform which basically takes requirements from an open source project, broadcasts it to a group of designers out there. I'm saying designers specifically for now because that is the first target group that I want to build this for. So what happens is, if you're an open source project, you come to our platform, you give us your requirements. Your requirements can have basic information about the project, what type of technology that you folks use, and what exactly is your requirement. What we do is we broadcast it to a bunch of people, and then we basically connect you with the folks that want to contribute to a project. And what I'm really saying here is, you get your thing solved through our platform. The major gap that we saw was there is no way for designers to go out there and find open source project with design requirements. When I say design, I'm not just saying UI. What I really mean is if you are a designer who has certain expertise in a particular domain, for example, you have a certain expertise in AI or blockchain, you know the technology, right? You can contribute to the flows of a particular product if you understand the product. So maybe a few of these designers can go ahead and actually help these projects out by helping them better their flows, making the whole product or the project more user-friendly and easy to use. So that's the whole point. Designers are not able to find good open source project or projects in general that they can contribute to, and that is the gap that I'm trying to bridge here. I don't know if this solution makes any sense to anyone. It does make sense to me in my head. So we the best way to find out whether this thing will work or not is to actually build it. So that is what we are going to do. Alright, so two important things that I should have answered in the last clip, which I did not, is probably why the heck do you actually build this, right? And the answer to that is very simple. Everything that I've learned till date is by doing. I did not take any sort of course when I was learning design as well, or in general for anything I personally believe that by doing something, you get a chance to grasp things much, not exactly quicker, but in a much more efficient way. But that's just something personal to me. But I feel everyone should get a chance to work on something real world, something that is being used by a lot of users out there. It gives you a good idea of a lot of things. It gives you a perspective of how would you go about designing something or building something when you have a lot of people using it. Another thing that it does is you basically have a chip on your shoulder to ship your best work when you are contributing to something that is gonna be used by a lot of people. So yeah, that is exactly why we're building this, to give designers a chance to contribute to real world projects which are being used by a lot of people, so that you just don't end up making case studies, but you actually end up contributing to some real world project, build a real world project, contribute to it and learn from it. Now, a very good thing to do is to have an estimate of the challenges that you might run into while building a particular project. I have written down a bunch of these. The very first challenge that I probably run into is finding designers. The next is finding open source projects. So these two things are the key things to my whole project. It's like finding the open source project who would be willing to come to my platform and give me their projects that I can broadcast to people and get people on to contribute to them. And obviously I'll need designers, because without designers this platform is nothing. So yeah, what I really need to do is build a community of designers, or get designers somehow to towards the platform, so that I can get these open source projects to come to the platform, give us the requirements that we can help them solve. Another thing is how to exactly market the platform. I have no idea. This video would probably be one source, and the other thing would be Twitter, because that is where I'm most active. Monetizing, I have no freaking idea if I'm gonna monetize this or not. Should I monetize it or not? We'll see. That's a future plan. And what are the MVP features? Whenever you're building a product, you can always go ahead and add all the moonshot ideas that you have in the product. I can just go ahead and say, okay, ठीक है, हम payments करेंगे, blockchain पे, this and that. But I don't know. The main thing to ask is, does your project or your product actually needs this feature? Will this add in any value to it? And while I'm shipping my MVP, do I actually need it? So these are just some of the questions that I have in my head. These are just top of my head. So yeah, these are a few challenges that I want to solve for. So let's go ahead, get started with some work, and let's try and figure out some flows and how exactly we're going to do this, and maybe then also design the whole platform and see if we can get it shipped by Wednesday. Cool. Also, I'm working on this project with my friend Harsh, with whom I brainstormed this idea the day I went to meet him. So yeah, let's do it. Alright, cool. So now that I'm aware of what exactly I've been doing, now it's time to build up some of the flows that would be, for example, taking requirements from the project admins. How exactly are we going to broadcast it to the designers? What would be a flow of submission? How would that go through? So these are some of the things that you would just think through. That is what I'm going to do right now, and then maybe I'll work a little bit on Figma. Not feeling too creative today, but yeah, didn't have a very good start of the morning. But anyway, cool. Let's go make some flows and see if we can design the whole platform. Alright, update time. Couldn't do a lot today. Still managed to finish off all the flows and everything.
pretty much sorted with the project. Just need to ship it now, build it and ship it. So should be done by Wednesday. We'll obviously have an update on Wednesday. पता चली जाएगा कि क्या कि नहीं क्या. But anyway, it was an eventful day. Went out to meet a friend this evening. Came back from it now. Probably going to sit and edit this particular vlog right now and try to upload it in like next 1 hour and see if we can make it happen. And yeah, I'll see you folks tomorrow with another vlog. I'm pretty bad at uploading times as well, but we'll see. Cool. Thank you folks for watching this particular vlog. If you're an open source project admin, feel free to hit me up. If you're a designer as well, please feel free to hit me up and let's see if we can collaborate and make this happen. Cool. Thank you folks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.